coming up on DHN.
Find out what happened to one girl after she shaved her head in support of her friend who was battling cancer.
And later, we'll talk about what team finally broke their NBA record losing streak. And one 14-year-old has figured out how to save the government $400 million with one simple change.
And we'll give you the latest on the search for the missing victims of the landslide that hit Washington State.
DHN, where you can get all the news of the day with signing, voices, and captions. Good evening and welcome to DHN. I'm Melissa Huber.
And I'm Clayton Ide.
The Group of Eight will not be meeting in Russia as planned for their annual summit. Instead, they have excluded Russia and are meeting as the G7 in Brussels, Belgium.
As G7 partners, our decision to move ahead with our summit in Brussels without Russia is an example, a signal of Russia's growing isolation.
Much of President Obama's trip to Europe this past week revolved around the Ukraine crisis. Russian troops gathered around the Ukrainian border, but reports say that Russian President Putin has ordered part of the troops to withdraw. President Obama has taken military action off of the table, but tensions are still high.
The sanctions that the United States and the European Union have imposed will continue to grow if Russia doesn't change course.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and his Russian counterpart met to discuss a diplomatic resolution to the problem.
California residents are recuperating after 2 earthquakes rattled the Los Angeles area these past 2 weeks. Officials are still assessing the damage, but it looks like there were no serious injuries. However, the quakes caused a mess in many homes, broke a water main, and even caused a small rock slide. People are waiting to see what will happen next.
27 people were killed and 22 are still missing after a devastating landslide almost 2 weeks ago. The landslide hit a rural Washington State community named Oso, just 60 miles northeast of Seattle. Safety officials and volunteers are searching every day for survivors, but it hasn't been easy.
The rain and the wind and the weather is basically working against us.
Officials expect the death toll to rise, and geologists have joined the team to see if there is any chance of more landslides happening, while the search teams continue looking for survivors.
Residents aren't the only ones trying to help. Seattle-based Starbucks announced it will be donating $100,000 to relief efforts after the mudslides. Boeing, American Airlines, and other companies have also made donations.
Signing up for health insurance on Healthcare.gov closed just a few days ago. DHN reporter Rhonda Makawichuk will give you the closing numbers.
Thanks, Melissa. The Obama administration was shooting for 7 million people signing up after the rough rollout.
The first open enrollment period under this law came to an end. And despite several lost weeks out of the gate because of problems with the website, 7.1 million Americans have now signed up for private insurance plans through these marketplaces.
President Obama held a press conference and announced that no matter the opposition to the Affordable Health Care Act, the number of insured people in America is up and the cost is down. If you started the application before March 31st but didn't have time to finish it, don't worry, because the date was extended for unfinished applications.
It's been almost a month now since Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 vanished during a trip to Beijing, China. 239 people were on board. The search area continues to change, and while teams are finding debris, none has been linked to the missing plane. Malaysian officials announced that the plane most likely crashed into the Indian Ocean with no survivors. 8 planes and a number of ships continue to search for more conclusive evidence.
This weekend, filmmakers from around the world will participate in the Seattle Deaf Film Festival in Washington. Those who win won't be getting cash, but some think the prize they do get is even better.
What this is a collaboration without a box, and it's a huge festival that has a partnership. So if we win this, we will have a presence on the Internet Movie Database. And so that way, hearing people can see that deaf people can succeed.
The competition is featuring over 30 films divided into 5 different categories. SDFF is the only deaf film festival on the West Coast and is hosted by Deaf Spotlight. To find out more about SDFF, visit their website, seattledeaffilmfestivals.com.
One Pittsburgh middle schooler won his science fair just by suggesting a change in font. DHN reporter Rhonda Makawichuk will let you know just how valuable that change was.
Actually, Melissa, that change could be worth almost $400 million. 14-year-old Suvir won his science fair last year after suggesting the federal government change the font in their documents from Times New Roman to Garamond. Government officials are just now taking notice, but haven't promised any changes.
Suvir's project doesn't only apply to the government. When you print something off at home, remember just how much money you could save with a simple font change. A 9-year-old Colorado girl suspended from school for shaving her head was allowed back in class last week. Cameron Renfro shaved her head to support her friend, 11-year-old Delaney Clements, who is battling cancer. School administrators said the haircut violated dress code, but after the story went viral on social media, they changed their minds. Cameron often visits her friend while she is undergoing treatment. Delaney says the gesture makes her feel special.
It felt good because when I have a friend there, like Cameron, it makes it an adventure.
Both girls and their parents hope the school will eventually change its dress code.
The Clinton Global Initiative kept with the theme of change in their 7th annual meeting. Over 1,000 students and leaders from around the world came to Tempe, ASU, 2 weeks ago. They focused on 5 different categories of change and offered workshops and panels to get the discussion started. Education was a key part of this year's initiative.
Around the globe, education still remains the key to unlocking opportunity for individuals, for families, communities, and even countries.
During the closing ceremonies, Hillary Clinton also suggested that she may be running for office in 2016, as many have predicted. The Arizona state budget has been bouncing back and forth through the legislature. DHN reporter Diane Sue Kovacs has been following its progress.
Well, Clayton, for the first time in almost 10 years, our legislature has hit a stalemate. Now, members of the House and Senate will form a special committee in order to come up with a compromise. Governor Brewer proposed a $9.36 billion budget, but the Senate approved a $9.18 billion budget. The House added to that, but when it went back to the Senate, much of the additional spending was cut. Brewer said she may veto the budget if it does not resemble the House budget.
As spring rolls in, snow moves out. Arizona Snowbowl closed its doors Sunday after another successful snowboarding and skiing season. Despite the average amount of snowfall being significantly lower this year, the Flagstaff Resort saw a higher number of visitors than average. Snowbowl marketing director Jason Stratton said artificial snow was used to make up for the loss of 160 inches of snow.
Let's take a quick look at some key games through the NCAA tournament. Dayton defeated teams through the second and third rounds, but lost their magical run against number 1 Florida. They only needed to beat Florida in order to get into the Final Four, which they haven't done since 1967. Number 7 Connecticut kept their dream alive after they won over number 4 Michigan State 60-54. Shabazz Napier had another outstanding game by scoring 25 points. Since the tournament, he has scored at least 19 points. Number 2 Wisconsin took another spot in the Final Four with the NCAA record-setting 7th overtime to beat number 1 Arizona. In fact, the Wildcats have made a record of their own by continually losing whenever they play at the Anaheim Stadium. Number 8 Kentucky clinched their spot in the Final Four with a very close game against University of Michigan. Aaron Harrison shot the game winner 2.3 seconds to win the game, ending 75-72. The Final Four will meet up in Arlington, Texas on April 5th. Florida against Connecticut and Wisconsin against Kentucky. The overall winner will be decided on April 7th. The women's NCAA Final Four has been decided. Number 2 Stanford beat number 4 North Carolina 74-65. This is Stanford's 5th straight entry into the Final Four. Stanford will face number 1 UConn. Notre Dame won over Baylor 88-69. Notre Dame's forward Natalie Achanwa will not be playing in the Final Four because of a torn ACL. They will face number 4 Maryland. UConn and Notre Dame haven't lost a game this season. If they meet in the upcoming championship game, they will be fighting for a perfect season, but one of them will have to lose. The Final Four is hosted in Music Town, Nashville, Tennessee on April 6th and April 8th. In 2004, both UConn's men and women's teams won the NCAA tournament championship. Fans are wondering, will it happen again this year? We'll have to see. Last Friday, Miguel Cabrera signed a record-breaking contract with the Detroit Tigers. It was signed for 10 years for $292 million. This record contract broke Alex Rodriguez's record 10 years for $275 million, which was signed in 2007. Miguel won the Triple Crown in 2012, which means he led the league in batting averages, home runs, and RBIs. This hasn't been done since 1967. He also won AL MVP 2 years in a row and will aim for a third one this season. Most baseball executives think the contract isn't brilliant like Rodriguez. The Major League Baseball regular season opened Monday with the Pittsburgh Pirates winning at home against the Chicago Cubs. Here in Arizona, the D-backs played their first home game against the Giants and lost by 1 run. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the season plays out. The Philadelphia 76ers broke their 26-game losing streak last Saturday. They defeated the Detroit Pistons 123-98. The losing streak was an all-time NBA record. They almost broke the streak a few weeks ago against the New York Knicks, but were unsuccessful. They play the Boston Celtics next. Back surgery will bench golf champion Tiger Woods from the Masters for the first time in almost 20 years. This announcement comes after successful surgery for a pinched nerve. He says he decided to have the procedure after some problems he had while preparing for the tournament. This will be the first time the 4-time Green Jacket winner will miss the Masters since his debut in 1995. Woods says he may also be forced to miss several upcoming tournaments as he focuses on rehab.
People don't realize that northern Arizona actually has some great snow.
Yeah, did you go to Pinetop or Flagstaff this year?
Not this year.
No, I've never been.
I went to Pinetop and it was so nice. Not much snow on the ground, but it looked beautiful with flurries of snow.
Yeah, I want to learn how to snowboard. We should go.
Right now?
Yes,
Yeah.
right now.
Well, thanks for watching.
See you next time on DHN.